Three changes from the side that drew with Leeds on Wednesday night at home. That game ended 0-0. Vinagre, Adama Traore, not that one, a new one, and Tyler Morton come in for Louis Coyle, who's out with a concussion, their captain, Scott Twine, and Liam Delap. Jaden Philogene, he starts. He played here once on loan, didn't he, Ian? What are you expecting from this afternoon's game? Is it afternoon? It's just struck midday. It is afternoon.
No, I just think I think it's important that Stoke carry on from where they left off. Basically, I think the performance midweek, that was encouraging. Moved the ball, I thought, very well in the central areas. Just need to add to that into the final third, but they'll be looking to do that. It'd be interesting in terms of how they're going to come about or come to terms with the 4-3-3 against them. Are they going to be brave like Preston were and be prepared to have the wide? Have the whole wide men marked by centre halves, or are they going to end up dropping back into a 5? So that'll be interesting to see what they're looking to try and do, and hopefully we'll have a positive Sunday.
Scoreboard, the giant screen has just ticked down, and up it says, it's red, we are Stoke, and the home fans have got behind that initiative from the club, showing memories, past memories, on the giant scoreboard / screen in between the east stand and the south stand. And it's Stoke who will get us underway. They just take the knee ahead of kickoff, and it's Said Haksabanovic who will get us underway, making his second consecutive start in the red and white striped shirts, white shorts and socks. And Stoke, as they prefer to do in the first half, attacking away from the Boothen end in this first 45 minutes. An early touch then for Rose, sweeping it over to Wilmot. Stoke currently in 20th position after the fixtures yesterday. One other championship game today at 3 o'clock between Sunderland and Cardiff, and then to round up the weekend, Coventry take on Huddersfield on Monday night, who've appointed Darren Moore, if you've missed that, by the way. Darren Moore, the new manager of Huddersfield. The ball runs all the way through to Ryan Alsop, who made his debut for Hull against Leeds on Wednesday night. Clean sheet, gets his first touch of the ball, swaps passes with Greaves, his captain, and launches it right-footed down towards this near right-hand side for Stoke. Gooch turns it infield, picked off by Traore. And now Seri sweeps the ball back to his goalkeeper. It was short. He had to come outside of his area, and he clears towards Vinagre, who sends it back to Greaves. Early pressure then for Stoke, and Thompson gets in there. He's in the 11. Ball's out of play. It's a throw into Hull right below us in this main stand, just a couple of yards shy of the halfway line down Hull's left-hand side. They're attacking the Boothen end, very, very early stages on this Sunday afternoon, I can say now, on BBC Radio Stoke, all frequencies. It's set Stoke 0, Hull 0, and Alsop will play it back to Seri. That was heavy towards Jones. He's under pressure from Berger, sweeps it around the corner now to Cyrus Christie, and he marches up the right flank towards the halfway line. Gets the ball back to him. He has to go back a couple of yards, just in front of the east stand, and Hull, they'll play out from the back like their manager likes to do. They'll build through the thirds. Liam Rossignol. And now Hull come on the attack down the right-hand side. Wilmot tangling with Philogene, and he wins possession. And now Johnson down the left-hand side plays it back to Wilmot, a couple of yards away from the dead ball line, right in front of the Boothen end, inside his penalty area. Clears it right-footed up towards the halfway line, intercepted by the blonde hair of Seri, and Hull have possession in their all gold shirts, shorts and socks. Jones has it in front of the arc of the centre circle, midway inside their own half. Alsop, their goalkeeper, in all light blue, comes out, joins the possession in front of the D, keeping the ball really well at the moment. Hull. Stoke 0, Hull 0, and the away side with the possession of the ball. Vinagre onto his chest, and then nods it forward using his head, gets forced back into his own half, and Haksabanovic puts the Hull defence under pressure. They play once again out from the back and approach the halfway line. It's Traore out towards the right-hand side. Christie, Hull moving forward, approaching Stoke's penalty area. Intercepted. This is where Stoke need to make it count. They need to make their possession count. McNally now to Gooch, deep inside his own right full-back area. Tries to clear it up towards the halfway line. This going on just below us here on the right-hand side. The ball's out of play. Stoke 0, Hull 0.
Hull have started very well, and they seem a very fluid side. You're looking at it, you've got Vinegres like playing in some respects as a wing-back, so they're sort of alternating shape at the moment. Just noticed there, though, on their attack there, and Stoke had a turnover, they actually went 2-on-2 at the back. I mean, if we can get the ball forward a little bit quicker, Gooch got his pass intercepted, but if we can get it forward a little bit quicker, that might just catch them out. But other than that, they've looked very comfortable.
Johnson has possession over on the left-hand side. Plays it back over the halfway line, back into Stoke's half. They're attacking away from the Bootham end. 4 minutes played, still awaiting the first goal of this midday kickoff on this Sunday afternoon. Gooch controls, heads towards the dead ball line, gets across it, takes a deflection off Vinagre. It's a corner, Ian, to Stoke, the first corner of the afternoon.
So we mentioned it earlier about how dangerous Wilmot looks there. So if we can get the service now from Johnson, and hopefully that'll get us off to a good start. But now I've been quite impressed the way that Hull looked to keep the ball in play there. So it could be an interesting game today in terms of both teams wanting to play football and who dominates possession to get in the vital areas.
So this corner below the south stand in front of the Hull supporters. Johnson will take it, right arm raised. Here it comes, left-footed, in swinging towards the near post. It's headed away by the Hull defence into the first couple of rows to the Hull supporters, who made the trip from the north-east, from Humberside. Seen their side only lose once this season. That was on opening day against Norwich, and that was in the 96th minute. It was 1-1, and Adam Eder scored to put Norwich in front and claim all 3 points. They're 6 unbeaten since then. Here comes the corner from Johnson, left-footed, low in towards the near post. Once again, a stooped-headed clearance from Vinagre this time, up towards the halfway line. And Thompson very casually just lays it back to Mark Travers, who comes running, sprinting outside of his penalty area. Wearing all blue, plays it short and square to Thompson. Under pressure from Connolly. Signed from Brighton, scored 4 league goals this season. The Irish international made a good start to his Hull career. Rose and Laurent, the captain, swap passes. Out towards the left it goes. It's Gooch there, who's swapped positions with Johnson at the moment. Keep Ian's thoughts on that. The ball's out of play, throwing for Hull. I've just seen Johnson and Gooch swap positions, maybe from the corner.
I think it's from the corner, yeah. They haven't quite got back into their shape yet.
6 minutes played. Stoke 0, Hull 0. And here's Greaves, the Hull captain, in all goal. Forced back into their own half and all the way back to their goalkeeper, Ryan Alsop. He's definitely coming out to make a man advantage. Under pressure. Plays it too strong for Vinagre. He's quite fortunate. Wins a throw-in off Haksabanovic. What do you make of Ryan Alsop there? He's definitely an extra man when they play it out from the back. Hull.
Yeah, they're looking to use the goalkeeper. As they say, it's quite interesting. They've got a guy called Slater who's playing on the left-hand side, but he tucks in field, and Vinagre as like a wing-back. He's ready to bomb on. So they're floating from a 4-4-2, 4-3-3, even to then becomes a 3-4-3. So it's a very fluid formation. They just seem to get back into some form of a 4-4-2, 4-3-3 shape when they're looking to win the ball back.
Laurent wins the header just 10 yards away from the halfway line, down this right-hand side, plays it down the inside right channel, looking for Campbell. Campbell wins out. Campbell goes up towards the penalty area. It's cleared away. Good defending from Cyrus Christie. Comes out, helps his 2 centre-halves and just blasts it into the south stand. The third corner kick of this first 7 minutes. It's 0-0. Ian.
I'm not sure whether Campbell's done his hamstring.
Oh, he is looking up towards the sky, just holding the back of his right hamstring. He's walking it off at the moment. He's lifting his right knee towards his midriff area. He's ambling towards the penalty spot. Keep an eye on him. 7 minutes played. Goalless between Stoke and Hull. Haksabanovic over this corner. It'll be an outswinging one. Left arm raised up. Here it comes towards the near post. It's cleared away. There's only 2 Stoke players outside of the penalty area. Haksabanovic again. I think there's just applause down this near side for Andre Vidigal, just warming up in front of the boothing end. Not seen in Stoke colours since the Millwall defeat. Here comes Haksabanovic. Corner, flighted in towards the 6-yard box, headed away by the Hull defence, only as far as Haksabanovic. He allows it to bounce across his body. It's gone out of play. Throw-in taken quickly towards Thompson. He backpedals towards the halfway line, gets it back in front of his manager, Alex Neil. Once again on the edge of his technical area. Gooch onto Laurent. Laurent with a strong pass to Berger. Haksabanovic tries to get down the right-hand side. It's cleared away by Vinagre. Just looking on the touchline, it's Lloris, Vidigal and Wesley all warming up.
Campbell's gone down
and,
there.
Campbell's afternoon might have ended after 9 minutes in. Still Stoke 0, Hull 0, and the Stoke physios running on to give him some treatment.
I think it was Phil's fault here. He mentioned the roast, didn't he?
And the Yorkshire puddings, didn't he? Yeah. I think Tyrese might have been thinking that. Hopefully he'll be okay. He's getting his right leg stretched out, and Vidigal's sprinting down towards this near side. If you're on the bench, that means you're ready to play. Alex Neil's having a word with him, and all that chat that Phil and we and ourselves we had pre-match. This could be bad news for Tyrese Campbell if you think the competition he's got now behind him. If he's out for another period with this. With an injury, Ryan May might be coming back from a hamstring. Andre Vidigal's there. Wesley's on the bench as well. It looks like it's an early shower for Tyrese Campbell at the moment. He has to come off the pitch anyway, Ian, and he has to come off the pitch and stay off the pitch for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, knowing what to do about a hamstring. Once you feel your hamstring, you don't feel comfortable with it because you don't really want to go and stretch out because you're very nervous of the fact of how bad it could be. Whether it's just a twinge now or whether it's just a spasm, we don't know. But I'm always reluctant. Once someone starts thinking about a hamstring tweak, then I think it looks a bit worse than what you thought, but it looks as if Vidigal's getting his shirt on. So.
Yeah, Campbell's just doing a few sprints on the touchline. Vidigal's getting stripped and ready. Martin Canning is talking to him. Hull restart, 10 minutes played. Stoke 0, Hull 0. Championship football on BBC Stoke. If you're just tuning in and you're thinking, where's Paula White gone? She'll be back next week. She'll be back, I promise you, next Sunday. I can see her smiling as she's getting into a car heading home. And football's on your dial. Tyrese Campbell's back on the pitch. Just a nice little sprint for him, approaching the halfway line, but Hull coming forward down the right-hand side. Johnson collects it right in front of the boothing end by the byline. Thought the ball might have run out of play, but he digs out a clearance towards Christie, who picks it up for Hull. Surges forward 5 yards, midway inside Stoke's half, right-hand side, swaps passes with Philogene. He eases himself in field. Now wants to pick out Traore, but Johnson gets there first, and Haksabanovic doesn't manage to keep the ball from running out of play. Vidigal stripped, he's ready. Martin Cannon's in discussion with Alex Neil. It's almost like a four-man committee. Vidigal is now ready to come on, and Tyrese Campbell's trying to win the ball off Jacob Greaves, the Hull captain. Thompson does win it on the halfway line, down the left-hand side. Wilmot trods on the ball, slows the pace of the game down. Vidigal comes forward. We're about to see him for the first time since Millwall in the capital, which was 3 games ago. Campbell is coming off. Vidigal is coming on, Ian. And Andre Vidigal, who scored 4 goals in all competitions, 3 in the Championship, back on the green grass.
Yeah, it's great to see him back, but it's a shame it's the expense of Campbell, and it'll be interesting. We've got 2 strikers up front now who aren't particularly tall. We're going to have to change our little methodologies of what we try to do a little bit now. It's same setup by the looks of it. Everyone seems to have just gone in there and just it's a straight swap, but so Vidigal's going to be playing through the middle.
Yeah, it'll be very fluid now between Vidigal and Haksabanovic. I heard some Stoke supporters talking on Wednesday night how they'd like to see them 2 play together. Well, they've got their wish, maybe earlier than they thought, only after 13 minutes here at the Bet365 Stadium. Stoke City 0, Hull City 0. Tyrese Campbell off with a hamstring issue. Hopefully not too long, maybe just precaution, but he's off. And Andre Vidigal on for the first time since the defeat away to Millwall in late August. 3 goals in the Championship, 1 in the League Cup. And he's back in the red and white striped shirts of Stoke and white shorts and socks. And it's a throw-in for Hull right on the halfway line. No, beg your pardon, it's a free kick, which Vinagre will take right in front of Alex Neil. It's a windy afternoon here in Stoke. Dark, overcast clouds moving from right to left behind the Boothen end and over towards the Sir Stanley Matthews statue, which I can see in between the corner of this main stand and the Boothen end. Hull have a free kick. And now, in the 14th minute, the Stoke supporters, they're clapping, and it's to remember Rafe Lawton, who passed away aged 14 from a very rare skin disorder. Rafe loved Stoke, and he loved his football as well. He played for his school and his local football club. We're all thinking about you, Rafe. God bless you. Free kick's taken, not cleared, shot comes in, runs out of play. It's a goal kick to Stoke. Stoke 0, Hull City 0. Andre Vidigal, Ian Cranson on instead of Tyrese Campbell. And let's see how this works between Vidigal and Haksabanovic. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is, but we've got to get the ball to them at the moment. This is a team where you're looking now, they've probably had most of the ball in terms of possession-wise, and certainly in the better areas, and they're moving the ball quite well. We're going to have to change it a little bit, because obviously our passing now has got to be a lot probably more on the ground and a lot slicker to get these two involved with it.
Allsop plays it out the back once again, this time towards Slater. He loses out, picked up by Laurent, but Hull win possession back and clear away, out of play, in a hurry, under pressure from the Stoke press. Gooch will take this throw it 10 yards away from the halfway line, down this right-hand side. Stoke attacking away from the Boothen end in this first half. Scoreboard is ticking along, 16 minutes played. Stoke 0, Hull 0. Early changed and forced on Alex Neil. Lauren wants to take too much time. Seri comes nibbling away, wins the challenge, but the ball goes all the way back to Mark Travers, who clears right-footed over the halfway line. Greaves, powerful header, beats Gooch to the ball. It bounces once. Can Gooch get there again? No, he can't. Vinagre gets there. Seri plays it in field towards Traore. He turns and finds Christie on the overlapping run. Now Philogene just outside the penalty area on the right-hand side. Puts a low cross in towards the near post. It's missed, kicked by Rose. Still not cleared. Shot comes in left-footed, way over the top into the row 20 of the Boothen end. And it's a goal kick to Stoke. Stoke 0, Hull 0. But once again, dodgy defending, scrappy defending from Michael Rose and Cranston.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy. We need to start getting hold of the ball. We need to start moving the ball around as well as we did on Wednesday evening. And yes, they're putting a good press on, in fairness, and they're applying a load of pressure. But the only way we're going to get the ball with any quality up to the front two and expect to retain it by doing that, because at the moment we're against the wind. The ball's holding up a little bit, and we're not really getting any joy to service to the front guys.
Vidigal putting Greaves under pressure midway inside his own half. Vidigal gets pushed to the ground by Greaves. There's a real swirling wind around the Bet365 stadium. Alex Neil in conversation with Martin Cranning, one of his assistants. Liam Rossinier there in all black, hands in his pockets, just looking down, moving right to left along his technical area. McNally in front of him, and now Rose to Wilmot, under pressure from Philogene, clears right-footed, looking for Vidigal right down the middle, and it bounces all the way through to Ryan Allsop. Don't forget Praise and Grumble post-match with Phil and Ian. 0800 121 8080 is the number. 0800 121 8080 with Phil and Ian from 2 o'clock. We're on air to 3. We'll hear from Alex Neil and we'll hopefully hear from quite a few Stoke callers away. Given away by Wilmot. Here come Hull, approaching the penalty area. Down the right-hand side, the ball gets pushed out the box now. It's Philogene. Philogene turning, facing Wilmot. Tries to get across in, he does do so. Rose clears this time on the half volley. Only as far as Tyler Morton, who's on loan from Liverpool to Hull. And is that offside, or has the ball run out of play? I think it's offside, and it's a free kick to Stoke. Stoke nil, Hull nil.
Again, a little bit sloppy on the ball, Wilmot. I think we need when we're moving the ball, we're moving it from right to left. It's come to Wilmot, and because he's naturally a right-footed player, he's looking inside, where I think he needs to let the ball run across and open out and bring Johnson into play, because that's where the space is. We need to move these around, because at the moment we're playing a little bit central, and that's where their bodies are. They're all in there, and it's they're getting bodies, and it's becoming very difficult for us to move it in there.
Yeah, Vidigal was offside. Long ball forward from Rose. Vidigal was caught offside. He's definitely playing down the middle, and Haksabanovic is floating behind him. Berger and Laurent are now pushing up, holding possession. They've taken the free kick, gone back to their goalkeeper, Ryan Alsop. His 15th club. He's travelled around, and at the moment, he's the number one for Liam Rossignol. Hull come over the halfway line, down the right-hand side. They give it to the red and white striped shirts of Stoke. Haksabanovic now to his captain, Laurent. He's gone down, Haksabanovic, unchallenged, I think, or maybe he was hit in the back, but Laurent has the ball. Down the left-hand side, 10 yards away from the dead ball line, puts a cross in toward the near post. It's headed away. Gooch tries to get there. Haksabanovic has got up. I think he was clattered, actually, when he played the ball. McNally shrugged off by Connolly, his fellow Irishman. McNally needs to show more strength there. Gooch turns one way, then another, gets a round of applause from the home support here in the main stand. Now Berger has it just outside the penalty area. Johnson in some space, shoots left-footed, just wide, about a couple of inches wide. Good work by Stoke. Johnson kind of scuffed his shot, didn't really get behind it. It's a goal kick to Hull. Stoke City nil, Hull City nil.
Yeah, Johnson's coming in into an inside left position there. He actually did really well with his first touch, created good space to get the shot off, and then just pulled it across the goal. But in some respects, when we start the build-up, I'd like to see him start a little bit wider, and I like Wilmot to start feeding them in a little bit, just to get them a bit of a stretch, and then we can then look to see what space that creates for the Haksabanovic and Vidigal.
Well, won back by Thompson. Renagre's down on the arc of the centre circle. He made a surging run from left to right infield. Hull regained possession, and Cyrus Christie comes over the halfway line. Philogene has it. Still goalless here at the Bet365 Stadium. BBC Radio Stoke this afternoon, Sunday afternoon, all frequencies. And it's at week 8 of the Championship. 7 points from 7 games for Stoke. They've won 2, drawn 1, lost 4 of those 7 games. Are they starting to see a team develop here at the Bet365 Stadium? They've conceded a free kick about 5 yards outside the penalty area, right of centre. Late challenge on Tyler Morton, and it's a tricky position for Stoke to defend this, Ian Cranston.
Yeah, look, Laurent engaged him a little bit earlier, and then once the ball moved away, he just let him run in between the gap, and he ended up chasing him on the wrong side of him. So that's caused the free kick. Again, I've been relatively impressed with the way Hull have moved the ball and how they've wanted the ball, and then on the turnover of how quickly they look to try and press. So it's given us a few problems, because we can't get into the movement of the ball as we'd like, and the fluency and whatever, and obviously with losing any threat up front in terms of height and strength and all that, we've got to be a little bit more acute in the ball. Yeah,
3-man wall for Stoke. It's 10 yards away from the penalty area, right of centre. Morton with a straight run up for Hull. Lawrence splits away from that 3-man wall. Here comes the free kick towards the far post. It's headed away by Rose. He's pushed by Alfie Jones into the advertising hoardings right below the Bootham end, and it's a corner for Hull, but well defended by Rose. Ian, he's under some pressure, isn't he, after Wednesday night, the performance against Hull. The second goal he was clearly at fault for. Corner to be taken. It's Morton seems to be in charge of the set pieces for Hull. In my little notebook I have Regan Slater. Morton one of the three changes, takes over. Seri lifts it forward towards Philogene, too strong, and it's run out of play in front of the booth. And then good play first initially, short corner, and then Seri lifted it in towards the penalty area on the left-hand side. It was too strong for Philogene, and it races away, and it's a goal kick to Stoke. Midway point of the first half. Championship football on BBC Stoke. Stoke 0, Hull 0. More football coming up in midweek on Tuesday and Wednesday. League Cup action as the ball gets set, played back to Mark Travers. Tuesday from 7 and then Wednesday from 7, both with Lucas Yeomans. Port Vale in action at home to Sutton United. Round 3 of the League Cup, and then Stoke on their travels away to Bournemouth on Wednesday night. Haksabanovic fouls Seri inside the centre circle, has a word with the referee, who's Thomas Bramall, in charge for the 4th time this season. He's already shown a red card. That was for a Liverpool player, Alexis McAllister, when they beat Bournemouth by 3-1. No bookings so far. Thompson lifts it down the left-hand side. Vidigal spins on his backside. Hull regain possession midway inside their own half, just below the east stand over on that far side. Stoke are attacking away from the booth, and then if you're just tuning in on this Sunday afternoon, and Haksabanovic gets there before Greaves. Greaves with a slide-in challenge. McNally wins possession back. Vidigal first time out towards Johnson, just 10 yards outside the penalty area. Heavy ball forward by Johnson, and the attack goes awry, and he lifts his right arm up towards Vidigal, acknowledges his mistake. Goal kick for Hull. Stoke 0, Hull 0.
Yeah, it's the first time that we've seen Wilmot actually. We've gone to put a full press on, and Johnson's engaged with their full-back, and Wilmot's gone over and looked after their wide man. And we had a bit of success, and in the meanwhile there's been 2 turnovers after that, and then just a sloppy ball by Johnson at the end, just overhit the ball, out of play for a goal kick, but promising area.
McNally gets there just about before Regan Slater runs through to Mark Travers, goalless after 25 minutes. When Stoke press the ball, Ian, they really press it with some intent, don't they?
Yeah, they certainly do in their third, and they've done it, but they put the full press on. To do that, you've got to get one of the centre-halves to commit to looking after the wide man. Again, they've moved the ball really well here from the back to get the forward and into the opposition's half now. Yeah,
really nicely done. It's found Gooch up towards the halfway line. That was well played between Wilmot and Rose. Now Rose has it again, just in front of the arc of the centre circle, inside his own half. Laurent pushed back by Morton, and Rose goes all the way back under pressure from Connolly. Connolly, Tufan and Delap, the goal scorers for Hull so far this season. Delap has got 2, Tufan 4. He's got a hat-trick against Sheffield Wednesday, and Connolly 4 as well. Travers now plays it towards Rose, just outside the penalty area. Clears right-footed over the halfway line. Vidigal allows it to bounce over his head. Berger sprints on. Allsop meets him just outside the penalty area. He clears right-footed in front of the east stand. Headed infield by Philogene towards Traore. Now Seri. Hull have possession. Still awaiting the first goal of this evenly fought contest between Stoke and Hull on BBC Radio Stoke. Connolly just outside the penalty area, tries to take on Rose, well muscled by Rose. Showed his strength there. Michael Rose for Stoke. Vidigal gets pushed off the ball by Greaves and wins a free kick. He wants to take it quickly. It's deflected. Haksabanovic inside the penalty area. Berger's to his left. He picks out Berger's just behind him. Still the attack, still in. They've still got the momentum. Berger tries to dig out a cross. He's saying it's a handball. It's headed away by Seri. Haksabanovic played it just behind Berger. Berger flighted the cross in. I think it might have came off the hand of Seri. He claimed for a penalty, but the referee was not seeing it. The ball's in the hands of Ryan Allsop. It's still Stoke 0, Hull 0.
No, they've had a good little break there. I'd like Haksabanovic to start dropping a little bit into midfield and try and overload that a little bit, because the centre-halves are looking for a pass. And I want to see whether or not, if he drops in there, their centre-half goes all the way, because if he does, that just gives Vidigal that extra space in the channel. Yeah,
Gooch, I thought he intercepted, but Hull did well there. They won the second ball actually out of the press, and they're over the halfway line. They come forward with Slater. Laurent tries to regain possession, nibbling away, but Slater was a bit quicker than Laurent, and Hull still have possession in all goal. Traore, Mr. Golden chance against Leeds late in the game on Wednesday night. Finished 0-0. Could have easily finished Hull 1, Leeds 0. and Hull have possession. Still 0-0 here at the Bet365 Stadium between Stoke and Hull. Seri turns around in 360 degrees, finds Christie below the east stand on the right-hand side, won back by Johnson. Vidigal, back heel, nice, clever towards Johnson, showing his intelligence. Laurent to Johnson. When they play it first time, Stoke to zip the ball around. Haksabanovic inside the centre circle with some space to drive to. He's got Johnson to his right, Vidigal to his left. He tried to pick out Vidigal, too strong. And Hull regain possession with Seri. Haksabanovic trying to win it back. One-man press on his own. He needs support. Looks around. Laurent's there. Telling Berger to come forward, but Hull come over the halfway line. It's Slater now towards his left-hand side to Vinagre. Vinagre trying to take on Gooch on the outside. At the moment, he's got the better of him. Gooch comes back. 15 yards away from the dead ball line. Comes in field. Vinagre still has possession. Gooch wins it back. Berger rolls it towards Travers and he clears right-footed. It bounces up towards Haksabanovic. He allows the two centre-halves, Jones and Greaves, to get in each other's way. Stoke are not going to win the ball like that. When it's played upfield, it's bouncing. Greaves and Jones, 6'2", 6'3". They're always going to overpower and out-muscle Vidigal and Haksabanovic, aren't they, Ian Cranston, a former centre-half?
Yeah, on that early attack there, Haksabanovic has dropped in, just as I mentioned before, and it was a slightly more advanced position than what I originally intended. I think he's capable of doing that.
Yeah, Wilmot outpaced by Philogene just outside the dead ball line. Shot comes in, it's gone in. Connolly, bit too simple. Philogene out-muscling Wilmot down the right-hand side. He pulled the ball back for Connolly, 6 yards out, and he poked it home, and Hull have taken the lead. Stoke 0, Hull 1.
Well, he's got them on the side of the ball. I don't know whether he's looking at the keeper to try and help him out, or he's obviously not with someone, but he's been outpaced on the outside of him. The pull-back, and Connolly, he just drops a yard off Rose and puts the finishing touch to it. But just going back to the other thing, I think the problem we've got is that we're trying to play from the back, which is fair enough because we need to, because we haven't got the tall target man to hit. And I just think Haksabanovic could actually drop into that midfield and look to receive off one of the centre-halves to try and link with the midfield players to take it forward. He seems a little bit too high up at times, and it's not giving their centre-half that much of a problem. He's like, if he wants to drop in, and let's see how far that centre-half's going to go, because they're looking to put a full press on the same as we are.
I'm not sure if I'm seeing things correctly, but I'm seeing we've already played 30 minutes. Stoke are trailing by a goal to nil. I'm seeing some Stoke supporters in the Boothen end and also in the South stand head towards the gangways. I'm not sure if they're heading for an early cup of tea or pie, or they're heading for the exit. A bit too early if they're heading for the exit. Still 15 minutes to play in the first half. Stoke 0, Hull 1, and it's the Hull supporters who you can hear. Aaron Connolly with his 5th league goal of the season. That was too easy down the right-hand side. I'll get Ian's thoughts on that in a moment, because Hull are coming forward again with Connolly down the left-hand side, inside the penalty area. Wants to get on his right foot. He's allowed to go on his right foot. His shot's blocked. Shot comes in. That's the second. It's Traore. He was allowed to get on his right foot. His effort was blocked by Connolly. Connolly, the defence spilled out to Traore, and he hit it right-footed. Low, past Bart Travers, and it's Stoke now 0, Hull 2, and I can see more and more fans heading towards the gangways in the Boothen end and the South stand. Ian Cranston.
Well, McNally's got caught. He's gone to play. He's going to go and look to mark someone who's just dropped in, and the guy is spun around the back of him. Rose has not gone with him. Just a pure lack of communication, and McNally gambling, basically. He's gone too early to try and close the ball down. That's not being played, and then after that, it's just it's you're giving up areas in and around the box. No, it's disappointing. 2 poor goals to concede, and obviously in the space of 2.5 minutes, it gives them a massive hill to climb.
I'm definitely seeing supporters heading towards the gangways, and I think quite a few are heading out of the ground as well, if I'm reporting it correctly. Stoke 0, Hull 2. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Connolly and Traore. Yeah, it's just come up on my video printer. 30 minutes Connolly, 32 Traore. and Hull come forward again over the halfway line. It's Traore who's got the second, just outside the penalty area, picks out Slater. He looks over his left shoulder, then his right. Lauren runs into him. Philogene, it's actually a free kick. It's a free kick, I'm not sure why. I thought Lauren bundled over Slater. The referee's awarded a free kick to Stoke. Just going on that second point, Wesley's about to come on, Ian Cranston, but just going on that second goal, you could see it from up here actually. He allowed Connolly to get on his right foot. He allowed him to have the shot. Then it was ping-balling inside the penalty area, and Traore was the first one onto the loose ball. Good effort in the end. You can't blame Mark Travers, but poor defended.
Yeah, very much so. As I say, yes, he did allow Connolly, but the problem that started well before that, because he was in a position, and I think Slater, I think from there was in there like in a 10 position, and McNally went to go tight to Slater, thinking he was receiving the ball, and as he's moved to go and put pressure on Slater, the pass bypassed him and went over McNally's head into the channel. So he's had to then turn and chase Connolly out, because who's been in that half and half position between Rose and McNally, and Rose has stayed central. McNally's had to do the job. We're all over the place.
Yeah, here comes Philogene. Connolly inside the penalty, right-hand side, pulls it in towards the near post. This time it's cleared away by Wilmot. Just lashes it over the halfway line. Vidigal's being pulled back, but he's offside. And Wesley is coming on.
Berger's injured.
Looks like Berger. His day's ended, so change of shape. Walter Berger is off after 35 minutes, and Wesley is coming on. His day's ended early, and Wesley comes racing on. And to the novice, Ian Cranston, it looks like when you make changes like this consistently, you really you don't know what you're doing, let's be honest.
I'll be honest with you, I think if you're looking at what how they performed on Wednesday, and the same set of lads turn up bar one, and you're looking at them today and you're like, it's as if someone's just picked the team in the car park.
Chalk and cheese. It's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, and it's like, but they're rattled. They need somebody now just to get hold of everybody and just to get to settle things down, get back into some form of shape. Because they're obviously they're plainly rattled, and there's no one prepared to take the responsibility to organise, and all of a sudden they become so disjointed. It's quite ridiculous. The midfield are all over the place. It's an open. It's like the M6 going back down there.
M6 after midnight. It's so free. You can just glide down or up which way you're going across the country. Stoke 0, Hull 2. Final 9 minutes of the first half. Yes, you heard that right. Stoke City 0. Hull City 2 on BBC Radio Stoke, all frequencies. 2 goals in 2 minutes, Connolly and Traore. Haksabanovic rolls it back to Laurent. Alex Neil's made 2 changes, 1 in force, 1 has had to make a change. Wesley's on to Haksabanovic, inside the penalty, left-hand side, nice trick from him, low in towards the near post, cleared away on a scissors kick by Traore. Gets a round of applause from the Hull supporters in the south stand. Gooch now has it. Vidigal tries to twist his way around. Seri flicks it towards Gooch. Gooch just set muscles Bonagri off the ball, but it illegally so, says the assistant referee down this near side. It would be a free kick to Hull, and deep inside their own left full-back area. Bonagri just has a little word in Lyndon Gooch's ear. Gooch just shrugs him aside, and Ryan Alsop will take all of the time in the world. The last time they were here at home was on the 2nd of September. They lost to Preston by 2-0. Those 2 goals came in the second half. It's 2-0 today. Stoke have struggled when they've been behind. They did get back in the game against Huddersfield on Wednesday night. They need to show some real steel and character for the remainder of this first half and the second half to come. Wesley getting pushed by Jones, wins the free kick right in the central area of the pitch. Jones now pushes Wesley away. It'll be a free kick to Stoke, and it's a first yellow card of the afternoon to Alfie Jones of Hull City after 38 minutes. So free kick to Stoke, central area of the pitch, 10 yards away from the penalty box. Vidigal places it very carefully. He'll move a couple of yards to his left-hand side. Is it a 3 or 4 man wall for Hull? Johnson comes as well, has a conversation with Vidigal, just cleans his face using his shirt. Alex Neil in conversation with Martin Canning and Paul Gallagher. It's a 4 man wall for Hull on the edge of their own penalty area. Allsop moves towards the left of his goal, now crouches down, hands on his knees. Johnson and Vidigal over the ball. Johnson splits to the right of the ball, Vidigal to the left. It's Vidigal who'll take it right-footed, low, and it bounces once in towards that near post, but Allsop takes it just very casually, rolls his socks up towards his knees, allows Wesley come towards him and then collects the ball. But a decent effort on target, Ian Cranston.
Yeah, it was never going to beat him there, I think so, to be honest. That was quite comfortable in terms of what they're doing.
He'll clear left-footed. Johnson under pressure. Philogene picks it off, and now Slater has it inside the penalty area, left-hand side. Danger once again. A couple of step-overs. He had McNally in a twist. It comes off Slater eventually, and it goes out of play for a goal kick to Stoke. Stoke 0, Hull 2. Final 5 minutes of the first half on BBC Stoke. All frequencies. Definitely a change of shape for Stoke. Look like they've gone to a back 4 at the moment. Ian, I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. I saw Daniel Johnson come as a left full back. Not quite sure how they're playing at the moment, but Wesley finds Gooch, comes over the halfway line. Gooch has some space, plays it first time towards Vidigal. Bit too strong, too much pace in front of Vidigal, and Christie defending for Hull. Clears it down the right-hand side. Philogene gets the better of 2 Stoke players, and Christie clears right-footed over the halfway line. Rose, first time, clears the ball out of play in front of the East Stand. And some of the Stoke fans are now definitely heading for a cup of tea. I think those ones who left on the 30th minute, and especially when that second goal went in, Ian, were heading out of the stadium.
Yeah, I think they just needed a bit of a breather just to settle themselves down. I think hopefully they're still in the concourse and they've got something to achieve the second half. I don't think we've changed the shape as yet this one. I think we're still going as a back 3, but they're looking to try the way how to rebuild, basically, how to build from the back. The big thing with Hull is that they get bodies forward very quickly, and they really get their people to support the ball.
Yeah, intercepted by Johnson, and now Wilmot over towards Haksabanovic. He has some space to run into. Everything to his right. Picks out Wesley down the inside left channel, just below the scoreboard between the East Stand and the South Stand. Thompson in some space. Gooch is free down this near right-hand side. Collects it, rolls it forward, now crosses high to the far post. It's not cleared away. Haksabanovic, left side of the penalty area, takes too much time, heads towards the dead ball line, under pressure from 2 Hull defenders. Back to Johnson. Johnson will flight it in towards the 6-yard box. It's headed away, helped forward by Traore, only as far as Wilmot. Miscontrols the ball. Frustration, fouls Connolly, and that'll be a yellow card for Ben Wilmot. Stoke 0, Hull 2. Stoke players are frustrated. The home support are frustrated, Ian Cranston.
Yeah, it's obviously it looks as if like the last 15 minutes or so, it's been one of them games where nothing's really gone for us. But at the same time, I'm looking at things there, and we aren't really. To some degree, it looks at the time we're going through the motions. The ball's got played down there, and Wesley's done really well, hold the ball up in the final third, left-hand side. And I'm looking at the 2 midfield players. Haksabanovic is already up there, but I'm looking at the other 2 midfield players, and we've got to be 35 yards away from the play. And Wesley's had to hold it that little bit longer for them to come and support it, for Thompson to get on the ball, and by that time they've had extra bodies back. So it becomes a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, Alex Neil and Liam Rossini were just chatting away. 4th official, who is James Linnington, just got in between them. I'm not sure it was much to do about nothing really. Probably frustration from one side and and calmness from the other. Frustration from Alex Neil and calmness from Liam Rossini. Johnson has the ball midway inside Hull's half, inside left channel, out towards the left it goes now to Vidigal. Back in the lineup, coming on as a substitute, replacing Tyrese Campbell. If you're just joining us on BBC Radio Stoke on this Sunday afternoon, expecting Paula White, instead you're listening to the football, and it's Stoke 0, Hull 2. 12 midday kickoff. I was going to say 12 p.m. I'm not sure what to say when it's when the clock strikes 12. It's a midday kickoff. 43 minutes played, and Stoke 0, Hull 2. Goals in the 30 and the 32nd minute from Connolly and Traore. Missed kick for the first time from Jones, and helped out by Christie on the edge of their own penalty area. Hull trying to come forward. Gooch tries to intercept, picked up once again by Vinagre, comes over the halfway line. Gooch gets back goal side. Vinagre comes in field, now finds Morton, and short and square it goes to an ambling Christie out towards Philogene. Couple of step overs, well known here at the Bet365 Stadium, on loan for 6 months, not last season but the season before. 21-22, made 11 appearances, now in the colours of Hull. Permanent signing for the club. Seri releases the ball towards the left hand side, and Hull, they can take their time and enjoy possession because they're leading by 2-0. Come over the halfway line again with Christie trying to pick out Philogene. Wilmot intercepts now to Johnson, and Johnson clears with a deflection, and it's a throw-in to Stoke, and they need some gene up, don't they, basically at half-time, Ian? 4 minutes to play, 4 minutes to play. We've got time added on.
Okay, then they just need a little bit of guidance as well, sir, because I think they're looking at it now, and all of a sudden now we've got a problem in terms of Johnson. Johnson is obviously a left wing back. Their full back Christie's getting a load of the ball, but because Johnson's being pushed back into a left back role, because of is it Philogene, as you say, yeah? Because of Philogene, then all of a sudden he's got a problem. He's got a 2-on-1. So Lorenz then having to go from the midfield to try and help him out. And we've still got that extra body as a centre half. So if they're going to look to put a press on, somewhere along the line, they're going to have to be brave, and they're going to have to push Johnson on, and Wilmot's going to have to look after the wide man. Otherwise, they've got the overload every time.
Stoke have possession. We've played a minute of the 4 added on the end of this first half. Stoke 0, Hull 2. 2 goals in 2 minutes. First after 30, second after 32. Stoke in possession, just shy of the halfway line, down the left-hand side. Now they're played in field, just too strong for Vidigal, and Stoke mop up, and they'll play out from the back. Into Slater it goes. Thompson putting him under some kind of pressure. Play out towards the left-hand side. Greaves turns, plays it in field, and Hull have all the time in the world. They feel like they have all the time in the world when they have possession, and they play it out towards the right-hand side, really stretching the field, and every time they have possession, they've got a man or two spare, and at the moment they're toying with Stoke. The Stoke players in their red and white striped shirts, white shorts and socks, they look lost. It looks like it's men against boys at the moment. And you can hear the Olays from the right, from the south stand. It's the Hull supporters, because Hull come forward again, approaching the penalty area. It's Vinagre down the left-hand side, 10 yards away from the byline. Tries to get a cross in, then decides not to. Couple of step overs, now heads towards the byline, does get a cross in. It's deflected out by Gooch, and it's a corner to Hull down this near side in front of the Bootham end.
Yeah, they're looking at a dejected 11 here at Stoke. There's so much uncertainty as to what they do. They don't know whether they're doing right or wrong at the moment. They've got the overload, as we mentioned before. Christie at the right back spot's given us a problem. And then even after that, if it comes this way, there's the same issues in terms of Vinagre pushes on and Slater drops in to get the space. And so, yeah, they've done really well, but we've sort of played into the hands a little bit.
So a corner, and it's Morton who'll take it right-footed in, swinging high to the far post. It's cleared away by Johnson on the goal line. Haksabanovic helps it outside the penalty area. It bounced up over Mark Travers, cleared away by Johnson. Hull regain possession with Christie. He plays it back towards Seri, and he goes all the way back to the halfway line. And it was Johnson on the goal line who headed it out, and Haksabanovic helped it out the penalty area. But Hull have possession. 3 minutes played of the 4. Philogene stands on the ball using his studs, rolls it towards Morton, and they play it back in towards their own half. Hull inside the centre circle. A very quiet Bet365 stadium. The only noise you can hear from the Hull supporters to our right in the south stand. They're both standing and sitting, watching their team. Unbeaten since the opening day. Unbeaten in 6. Seri slips and then brings down Laurent. Laurent would have been through. He had Wesley and Vinegal to his right and left. And it's a free kick and it's a booking for Seri. Good professional foul, Ian Cranston.
Yeah, he's slipped, and he's made sure that Lorenas can't progress. There's a good area, actually, to be fair. We won the ball in a good area, but he's done the right thing. You know, as a professional, you turn around and say, well, yeah, he's took one for the team, and he's made amends for his original mistake.
Just watching a replay of the header and the Johnson clearance on the goal line. It was Johnson, the last man, but it's a free kick into the final few seconds of this first half. 4-5-man wall, 1-2, yeah. It's a 4-5-man wall, one splitting away. It's Christie and Philogene on the edge of it. Johnson and Haksabanovic this time over the ball. 10 yards outside the penalty area, just left of centre. Haksabanovic, right-footed up and over the wall. Good save from Allsop. Right low, down towards his right-hand side. He turned it around the post, but the referee blows for half-time. Corners not being allowed to be taken. There's boos all around the Bet365 stadium. Stoke 0, Hull 2, Ian Cranston.
Yeah, I think the supporters have vented their frustration there. I think pretty even until they scored, and we just conceded 2 poor goals. Again, we've talked about defensive areas and individual mistakes that's hard to cater for, but after that we've looked a little bit awry. We've got back into some form of shape the last 5 minutes or so, but we're still not quite sure how to engage with their right back, Christie, when he gets on the ball. You know, because we're asking Loren to go from the centre of midfield, obviously, and he's already picking somebody up there, and it's been difficult. If we're going to do the press, you're going to have to do the full press, and it's got to involve one of the centre halves moving up. And there's a little bit of a reluctance to do that.
Half-time, Stoke 0, Hull 2.
Where on earth do you start with that? Well. Ian Cranston, I'm a little bit lost for words, in as much that I don't think I can ever remember a team amble its way through a first half with less urgency, because that's what it seemed to me, that they haven't really switched on, not just at crucial times, at any point.
Yeah, I think it's a fair conversation to have. In fairness, I think in parts of the early on, yes, but we've applied the press a couple of times and we had some success about it, but we just seem to, if it doesn't quite happen, the energy, the tempo seems to drop off, and if the opposition beat the first part of our press, we're in trouble, because there doesn't seem any real urgency to get back and help out. And the gaps become too big. And when you get big gaps, you get spaces. And in fairness to Hull, they've exploited them really well.
The first goal comes from just a long ball down the right, and Wilmot struggles to deal with Philogene. And then I'm not sure, is the goalkeeper a little bit at fault, because he gets pulled away a bit too far away from his near post. And when the ball's pulled back, the guy can't miss.
Well, I think it's the first ball. I'm not sure. I think Wilmot was having a moan. I'm not sure he was having a moan about it, whether he thought the keeper was going to come out to help, because the ball actually ended up in his box. But you can't expect the keeper to come there, so I don't quite understand that. He's been done down the outside, and I think the problem you've got, once the ball gets to that deadline and he's 8-10 yards from the near post, and the goalkeeper's like, he's in two minds. He's in no man's land in respect of, well, as soon as the ball goes past him, he's beaten. and you're relying upon maybe Rose to put a block in, and unfortunately the balls end up going between Rose's legs in. But it's just an easy ball, and both have been exactly the same. We've been done both times with a long ball over the centre half's head, and their strikers getting into areas. So yes, we spoke about it at half time about the dominance at the back and taking charge of things. We spoke about defending in and around the box, and it's let us down.
That is a concern, because you could feel, as we talked about earlier on prior to the game, about the atmosphere in the ground, you could feel it turn after that second goal, couldn't you? You could feel some people had lost some patience with the team.
I just think because it's just like 2 goals in 2 minutes, it's going to kill everybody off, and I think it's deflated the crowd. You know, the first goal was bad enough, deflated the crowd, because obviously we've struggled this year to come back from conceding the first goal. I think there's only Huddersfield that we've managed to do it, isn't it? So that's obviously deflated the crowd, and then they haven't really had a chance to get back and support the team before it's gone and happened again. And I think it's just the man of the 2 goals. I think it's both goals are avoidable, and that's the frustrating part of it.
What do you think's going through the manager's head at half-time now? What on earth can he say to that bunch of players other than get yourselves together? Because they've looked disjointed at times, but the manager is the one who ultimately carries the can in situations like this.
Well, I think it's just they're looking for a bit of guidance. They're not sure how to deal with the way the whole are playing in terms of how they're playing out. So when they look to try and put a little bit of a press on, they've got that full-back in acres of space, and because we're playing as a 5 and Johnson's been very, very wary of the fact that their wide man's staying high and wide, he's defending him. So unless you're going to go and turn around and say, well, Johnson, you've got to go and push again and go full-back against full-back ultimately, and because of that, Wilmot at the time has got to swing by and become a little bit of a left-back. You won't, because they always got to have a spare man. You know, it's an 11v11 ultimately, so you've got to turn around and somewhere along the line it's a man-for-man situation. If you want to put a press on, that's what you've got to go like. And there's a reluctance there, and then all of a sudden, once they've beat the first line, then they've got problems, because Lorenz having to move from the centre of midfield, so he's disengaging with his player to then try and get onto Christie and help Johnson out. And as he's doing that, it's just a slow turnover, you know. Really, you're looking at you're looking for Haksbanovic to maybe drop in there and help them out, because he seems to be playing a little bit high at times, and then if he does that, then there's an opportunity. But because he's not, there's a 3v2 in the middle of the field, and then all of a sudden you've got this overload. And listen, Hull are doing okay. They're moving the ball very well. They're fluent, and they're working off each other really well and finding pockets of space that Stoke have failed to do when they've had opportunities. And they deservedly winning the game.
Ian, for now, thank you very much indeed. The voice of Ian Cranton there. He and Sohail will take you through the second half here on BBC Radio Stoke, if you can bear it, because at half-time, Stoke 0, Hull 2 is the half-time score. We've got some other games in both the Premier League and in the Championship this afternoon. The only one that's kicked off early, though, is this one here as a 12 o'clock kick-off. All these are 2 o'clocks in the Premier League. Arsenal take on Spurs in the North London derby. Over 10 years since Spurs have won a North London derby at Arsenal. Brighton versus Bournemouth, Chelsea versus Aston Villa, and Liverpool versus West Ham complete the 2 o'clock kickoffs, and then the later game is at Bramall Lane, where Sheffield United hosts Newcastle at 4:30. Stoke 0, Hull 2 in the Championship, as we know about. There is another Championship game today. Sunderland face Cardiff at the Stadium of Light, and that one is a 3 o'clock kickoff. We'll go through some of the day's sports news, and we'll hear more about some young developing cricketers in Staffordshire next.
TV question this morning. Who's the current host of Family Fortunes? He talks a bit like this.
Lee Blakeman at breakfast.
It's Gino Di Campo.
That is terrible. He sounded like Bella from Fireman Sam.
Oh, beautiful.
Paul's been in touch, saying Lee sounded like Joe Dolce.
Lee Blakeman at breakfast.
Rob has been in touch with a photo of my head on Super Mario's body.
Amazing.
Weekday mornings from 6.
It's a disgrace.
BBC Radio Stoke.
The voice of local football since 1968.
BBC Radio Stoke.
Yeah, Lee will be back Monday from 6 a.m. with some reaction to the weekend's games and also previewing the League Cup ties that we've got coming up for you on BBC Radio Stoke this week. Stoke back in action on Wednesday night. They face Bournemouth away in the third round of the League Cup. We have a load of build-up from that for you. From 7 o'clock, we'll hear from the former Bournemouth midfielder and current Stoke midfielder Ben Pearson on that night as well. We've also got live football for you on Tuesday night as well. Port Vale are in action. They are in the third round for the first time since 2009 when they take on the lowest ranked team left in the competition, Sutton United, at Vale Park. All the build-up from 7. If you're more concerned with Stoke, though, as if you're listening today, you probably are, then your next bit of focus will be on Praise and Grumble tomorrow night with Lucas Yeomans from 6 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock on Tuesday night we have our Stoke City special on Sport at 6, and Lucas will have loads of features and reaction to this game and previews of Wednesday's cup tie as well. That's from 6 o'clock on Tuesday night. And if you missed any of those previous episodes of our Stoke City night, and all you got to do is head over to BBC Sounds, go to the day you want. It's normally Tuesdays for Stoke. Look up 1800 on the schedule and you'll find Lucas's face there, smiling back at you for each and every Stoke City night that we have done this season. That is on BBC Sounds. Stoke 0, Hull 2 here, as we know about. There was a full fixture programme yesterday. One of the Premier League games saw the leaders Manchester City beat Nottingham Forest 2-0 at the Etihad. City had midfielder Rodri sent off early in the second half, but their manager Pep Guardiola says that his team ended up coping pretty well.
Yeah, we have to. No complaints. And after a while, we make 5 in the back, and they defend really well. And the players in the middle, Calvin and Mateus and Phil after Jack were amazing. Even Erling, and you play more long balls. We won the second. We have the tempo. It was in general was a really, really good game.
Boxing, and the British heavyweight Joe Joyce was stopped in the third round by Zhilei Zhang in London, leaving his dream of securing a world title shot in tatters. The Chinese boxer is still WBO's interim title holder and mandatory challenger status to the unified world champion Alexander Usyk, but Joyce says he's got no intention of walking away from the sport.
Just going to have a bit of time off and then reflect and review where I went wrong. And I'm feeling good, I'm feeling okay. It's not the end of the world. I can rebuild and come back. He's credit to Zhang. He's a tough fighter. He's a good fighter, and so wish him all the best in the next stages. And I'll just have to take a different route to get back in line.
In Formula One, the world champion Max Verstappen has won the Japanese Grand Prix, handing his Red Bull team the Constructors' Championship. McLaren's Lando Norris passed his teammate Oscar Piastri as the Australian had to back off for Verstappen's defence, and he went on to take second place.
Another amazing day for us, a P2 and a P3, so couldn't have asked for any more. The team did an amazing job. My start was very good. I almost had Max, but Max is Max.
And Mercedes drivers Lewis Hamilton and George Russell finished 5th and 7th respectively. And we'll finish off with at least one piece of good news for a Stoke fan this weekend. Things aren't going well here as Stoke trail 2-0 to Hull at half-time. But well done to Joe Clark. He's a Stoke fan. He's from Stone. And at the Canoe Slalom World Championships yesterday, he won gold in the men kayak final. He finished with a total time of 91.32 seconds. Keep listening to BBC Radio Stoke throughout this week, because we're going to speak to Joe, I think, maybe tomorrow, and we'll have an interview with him where he will no doubt talk about both what he's achieved this weekend, and, well, maybe he might want to ring Praise and Grumble and have a moan about Stoke at full time in this game as well. You can get your calls in now if you so desire for that, by the way, 0800 121 8080 to speak to me and Ian Cranson after the game to see to have your say on exactly, well, where things may be going wrong. Still 45 minutes of football left to go here at the Bet365. Hopefully things will change in Stoke's favour. Elsewhere, well, here's something that's maybe might cheer you up a little bit, particularly if you love your cricket. As we go into the autumn, the cricket season coming to an end, but there are more and more youngsters coming through to play the sport in this area. Pathway and performance manager for Staffordshire Cricket is Chris Millwood, and he spoke to Sam Fletcher on this week's Sport at 6 on Wednesday that there's plenty of youngsters coming through the system.
What you get used to is actually a player's journey through to senior cricket or whatever level can actually be quite varied. You know, we have some players that have been involved from 9 years old who have gone on to play first-class cricket, but some players that come into our pathway into county age group cricket quite late, which I think shows the strength of our offer in that players can come in at various stages. It shows the intricacies of working with young people and the fact that young people mature at different times, physically and psychologically. But I think is also healthy, the fact that young people can get what they want from a sport. I think this summer we've done particularly well in the Staffordshire senior side in that there are quite a few graduates, if you want to call them graduates, of our performance pathway playing for the senior side. And we still have a number of players in and around first-class cricket. And that's the same on the girls and women's side, Sam, as well. We've had a number of graduates recently into the Regional Central Sparks Academy.
Amazing.
A player play in the England Under-19s World Cup last winter.
Oh, wow. Who was that?
Davina Perrin played for England Under-19s.
Brilliant.
Yeah, in South Africa. They got to the final. They narrowly missed out to India. But yeah, you're right. It's so satisfying when you see a player start a journey and finish a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I was chatting to, not that long ago, the captain of the men's side, James Kettleborough, and he was describing that Staffordshire is a bit of a hotbed at the moment, really exciting young players coming through, which I guess is a direct result of what you're doing. So do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think it has been for a number of years, Sam, really. And it's down to a few things, right? It's down to the size of the county, the strength of the club infrastructure, which has always been strong. But also I think there's a real passion in Staffordshire from individuals to really show what they're about. I think that comes through loud and clear, and there's a real grittiness to some of them to play against first-class counties and give them a run for the money. And James Kettleborough's role actually is quite interesting. He does captain the first team, as you say, but he's also one of our coaches on under-18 side, so he's right at the coalface there as well. So yeah, he's got a good viewpoint there.
That's Chris Millwood, who's the Pathway and Performance Manager for Staffordshire Cricket. That was a bit of part one of the interview he's done with Sam Fletcher, which was on Sport at 6 this past week. If you want to hear part 2, it'll be on Sam's programme this forthcoming week here on BBC Radio Stoke. But we've got plenty of live football before that. Most pressing is the second half of this game here at the Bet365 Stadium. It's Stoke 0, Hull 2. Can things change? You'll find out with the former Stoke defender Ian Cranson and BBC Radio Stoke Sohail Sahi.
Thank you very much indeed, Phil. It really does feel like a big 45 minutes ahead here at the Bet365 Stadium. Hull get us off and underway. Stoke attacking the Boothen end like they prefer to do so in the second half. Can the famous Boothen end suck in at least 2 goals in the next 45 minutes? It's week 8 of the Championship, and it really does feel like a momentous 45 minutes ahead as the rain sweeps around the Bet365 Stadium now and rolls it back to Mark Travers. Hull have made no changes at half-time. Stoke were forced into one in the first half after 13 minutes. Campbell off with a hamstring issue and Andre Vidigal on to replace him. And then Walter Berger was hauled off after the 2 goals were scored from Hull, and Wesley, who's just touched the ball, has been the replacement. Cross coming from the right from Haksabanovic. Beg your pardon, it was Gooch. It bounced up, comfortable in the end for Allsop. Ryan Allsop, the Hull goalkeeper. He collected it on the edge of his 6-yard box. He did dive low to collect it. No Stoke player on the end of that cross. So it's Travers in goals. McNally, Rose and Wilmot make up the back 3. Laurent, Thompson, Johnson, Haksabanovic and Gooch in midfield with Vidigal and Wesley up front. So it's still, like Ian Cranson mentioned, and the latter stages of the first half, it is still a 3-5-2 formation. The wind has picked up. The rain is sweeping from right to left down the south stand towards the Boothen end and out towards the famous Sir Stanley Matthews statue towards our left-hand side. Stoke in possession. They need to see lots of the ball in this second half. Trailing by 2-0. Gooch heads towards the byline, gets muscled off it from Vinagre, and he races away from the edge of his penalty area. Swaps passes with Slater, and they can't allow Hull to be in their comfortable, composed passing scenario like they were for the majority of the 45 minutes. That's better from Wesley. Round of applause. Pressing all the way, and he's actually conceded the throw-in, but that's better, that's more like it. But they need to do that for the next 43 minutes, don't they, Ian Cranston?
Yeah, he showed a bit of hard work there, but the way they're setting the press up at the moment, they're still on an overload. They're doing a 5v, like Hull have got a 5v4, and Stoke are trying to put the press on. So there's always that chance that they're going to get, and that's not including the goalkeeper, so technically 6 people. So there's always a chance that they're going to get out.
Wilmot goes back to Mark Travers, just looking up front for Stoke. It looks like Haksabanovic, Vidigal and Wesley are in a combination of Haksabanovic just behind Vidigal and Wesley. Johnson, the wind whipping around his hair, which is dangling around his shoulders, takes the throw in quickly to Wilmot. Wilmot back to Rose. Wilmot under pressure for the first goal, and conceded possession, which was pulled back in for Connolly to tap home from 6 yards away. And Adama Traore making up for his miss against Leeds on Wednesday night, scoring the second. Stoke 0, Hull 2. BBC Radio Stoke on all frequencies in the second half now on this Sunday afternoon. Haksabanovic in front of the Boothenen on the right-hand side, plays the ball infield to Vidigal. Now on to Johnson, picked off by Traore, and Hull regain possession. Foul tackle by Thompson, right under the referee's nose. Free kick to Hull midway inside their own half. Stoke 0, Hull 2.
Yeah, it looks as if Hull are setting up as like they've got 2 deep liers, so it's like a 4-2-3-1 now. So the 2 outside of the 3 are looking after the wide areas as well. So it's and then when they have the ball in their own half, so then they're looking to play and get on the ball as they've just done now.
Picked up by Seri. Morton comes towards him to collect, plays it behind to his 2 centre halves, and they clear up towards the halfway line. Lawrence snapping away at Traore. Traore wins that battle, comes over the halfway line. Lauren comes back, grabs his left shoulder, hurls him down, fouls him, looks at the referee, turns around, cries of anguish, and it's a free kick to Hull. Stoke 0, Hull 2. 2 goals in 2 minutes, 30th minute and 32nd minute for the visitors, unbeaten since the opening day when they lost to Norwich by 2-1, and that was even in the 96th minute. The winning goal was scored by Adamida. Really impressive start to this season from Liam Rossignol and his side. Plenty of strength on the bench as well for the visitors. Liam Delap's on the bench. Ozan Tufan is on the bench. Stoke not shy of talent themselves, sitting in the dugout. Throw-in from Christie towards Philogene, collects on his mid-drift, heads towards the dead ball line, gets a cross in, takes a deflection off Wilmot, spins up in the air, hits the advertising hoardings, and it's a corner to Hull in front of their own supporters down this right-hand side. Travers gives the ball to Connolly, and Hull back in the ascendancy in these early moments of the second half. Ian, what are your thoughts so far from what you've seen?
Well, there's no real impression being made, if I'm honest. It looks as if it's a game that's just going to go and fade out and fizzle, which is going to be quite happy for Hull. I think we're looking at someone from the Stoke side just to pick up and get the tempo, a little bit like Wesley did earlier on, but it just seems to be settled down into something of a nothing game at the moment.
Corner's been taken, cleared away only partially, picked up by Slater, goes back to Seri. Slater with possession again. Alex Neil, keep your eyes on him. Ian and I will do that throughout this second half, approaching the edge of the technical area, hands deep in his pockets, urging his players, talking to Daniel Johnson. Can you hear in your day, Ian, when you used to play, can you actually hear the manager on the sidelines? I know it's probably less so in your day. It's definitely a lot more now. Managers are right active. I'll ask you in a moment, because Hull regain possession. Don't want to miss any chances. Have a think about that. Slater coming forward. Plays it short and square to the left to Slater. All the time in the world to get a cross in. Gooch intercepts. Gooch clears. Fallen to the golden shirt, shorts and socks of Hull. Vidigal gets back. Wins possession. Thompson turns. Rolls it out towards Gooch on the right-hand side. Stoke attacking from right to left towards the Boothenen. Johnson gets there first, plays it infield to Haksabanovic. and he's shouldered, muscled off the ball, and Hull regained possession. Very quiet inside the Bet365 stadium. The rain's just eased off. Cross was coming in from the left. It's instead circled back in field to Morton. Wesley tries to regain possession, but Hull dictating play, enjoying the football, using the full width of the pitch from left to right, from right to left. Johnson tries to get in there and nick the ball off Philogene. He was having none of it. It's a free kick to Hull.
Yeah, getting back to the first point. Yeah, well, it's always difficult for managers to try and get messages on, but you know, you've got, obviously you're relying upon them passing, like players passing messages over to people on the far side, etc. But it's not impossible to do. Looking at this game as it is now, you can't see Stoke coming back into it. There just doesn't look anything there. They're off the pace. I think it looks like a comfortable afternoon for Hull, if I'm honest.
Something needs to change. 8 minutes played in the second half, trailing by 2-0, and the ball's just run out of play from a cross from a central area of the pitch from Hull. It's been a real, apart from that initial surge from Wesley, it's been a quiet start to the second half for Hull, for Stoke, beg your pardon. Stoke need to show more urgency. If there is to be a next goal, it needs to come from the red and white striped shirts of Stoke. Then they'll get the home support. Back on side, Wesley lays it off towards Haksabanovic. He plays it out towards his right and to Gooch below the east stand. The rain sweeping across the Bet365 once again. Thompson tries to find Johnson, easily cleared away by Christie. Wilmot scampers back, comes away from the ball, and Philogene over the halfway line comes away with the ball rather than away from the ball. McNally out towards the right hand side to Gooch on the halfway line. He comes in field. Stoke 0, Hull 2. 10 minutes played in the second half. Picks out Haksabanovic. Oh, that was a bad tackle, bad challenge actually from Jacob Greaves, the captain of Hull. He's been shown a yellow card. Haksabanovic controls, skip past Greaves, and that was naughty actually. Might see the replay of that, Ian Cranston. I'm not sure if you've got a monitor in front of you. I have. Here it comes. Gooch lifts it towards Haksabanovic. Nice control, skips past. Yeah, went into the shins of Haksabanovic.
Yeah, he's just committed himself, and he's been skipped past, and it's the greasy surface has just kept him going basically, and he's gone straight through him. But he should be okay.
Two big, powerful centre-halves Hull have in Jacob Greaves, their captain, and Alfie Jones. I've seen that right across the Championship. Most teams have that. In comparison to what Stoke have in Wilmot, Rose and McNally, they seem a little bit lightweight, but defending, I come from the Italian school of defending, Ian, I'll tell you in a minute, but Gooch low in towards the near post, cleared away by Traore and hacked away by Connolly. Thompson picks it up on the arc of the centre circle, inside Hull's half, edges forward, flights a ball from left to right, towards that right-hand side, below the east stand. Gooch trying to carve out a cross, heads towards the byline, couple of step-overs, does get a cross in, deflects out of play, it's a corner to Stoke, they trail Hull by 2-0. Italian school of defending's all about interception, reading the game, and I think that's what some of the Stoke lads have to do. If they haven't got the muscle, they need to use their brain.
But they've got to be clever. Took a short corner now here, so also into play here.
Haksabanovic to Gooch. Gooch back out to Haksabanovic, has time, shapes to cross, will do so left-footed towards the far post. Wesley's there with the header, but straight to Ryan Allsop, but that's much better. Ball delivered into the penalty area, into the 6-yard box. It was dangling, it was hanging for Wesley, got his head behind it, not enough power. It was a save from Allsop. Stoke 0, Hull 2. What do you make of that, Ian Cranston?
I thought initially he'd taken the ball off Rose's head, but he hadn't really. So he was going towards the ball, but he just failed to get that bit of power to generate enough to get it past the keeper to trouble him. But you know, I think set pieces and that we need to have a better service in. I think there's too many times we're hitting the first man.
Hull with possession right below us here in the main stand. Traore, one of the 2 goal scorers, bundled off the ball by Laurent. He's frustrated the Stoke captain. It's a free kick to Hull, midway inside their own half, a yard in from this right-hand touchline. Experienced Cyrus Christie will take his time to restart play, and we'll see this for the remainder of this game. They'll take their time over the restarts, and why wouldn't you when you're leading by 2-0 on your travels? Very difficult to pick up points in this division away from home. Hull are showing how it's done. Morton infield to Seri. He has time, rolls it back to his captain Greaves. Just on the arc of the centre circle, inside their own half. They lead Stoke by 2-0 here at the Bet365 Stadium. 12 minutes played of the second half. Philogene gets the better of Wilmot, helped out by Haksabanovic, but referee awards a free kick to Hull for tugging by Wilmot on Philogene. Alex Neil and now Martin Canning comes out and has a word with the fourth official. Free kick's taken, given away. Hull don't give the ball away much, but they've given away possession this time. Well, they've won it back through a throw-in, and you can see some of the supporters in this main stand turning around to each other and nodding their heads in disapproval, not really pleased with what they're witnessing on this Sunday afternoon. Bournemouth up next of the Premier League in the League Cup. That will be live on Wednesday night from 7. Before that on Tuesday from 7 with Lucas and Phil and the team from Vale Park, Port Vale against Sutton United. It's the third round of the Football League Cup. As the ball just runs out of play, there'll be a throw-in for Stoke. 14 minutes played of this second half, Ian. I don't sense no urgency whatsoever.
No, it's like it's as if everybody's come to the agreement where we play the game out and we'll take a 2-0. They're being very cute. They're buying a few free kicks. They're taking the time over, getting the ball back into play. And you're an away team who are winning the game 2-0 quite comfortably. You don't need to set any tempo whatsoever to this game. You just need to keep the ball, and that's quite happy what they're doing. Unfortunately, Stoke haven't got it in them at the moment to just try and raise the tempo and get the crowd just behind them somewhat. That's where we're just struggling. They don't seem to have any real idea as to how they're going to break this team down.
Haksabanovic just forward and left of the centre circle, down this left-hand side. If you're just joining us on this Sunday afternoon, you're expecting Paula White and some nice chat and music. Sorry to disappoint you. It's the football instead. Championship football on BBC Stoke, an hour played. Stoke 0, Hull 2. 2 goals in 2 minutes on the 30th minute and the 32nd minute have put the visitors in control, firmly in control, as the ball runs out of play for Stoke. It's a goal kick to Hull in front of the Boothen end, and the Stoke are attacking from right to left towards that Boothen end in their home strip of red and white striped shirts, white shorts and white socks. And this is the voice of Ian Cranston alongside me. Played 8 years here at Stoke as a centre half, and in your 8 years at Stoke at the old ground, you've probably never heard it so quiet, have you? Because it is quiet today.
Yeah, it's quiet. To be fair, we had a bad time when I first came here. We struggled when we first came here. We obviously got the relegation, and we had a couple of years messing around before we actually got the promotion again. But once that promotion year came about, we were a lot. The noise was fantastic.
Noise has been great while I've been in my short commentary period here. Connolly with an effort, cleared away. Morton picks it up. Hull are first to the second ball. Not only are they very good playing out from the back, but they're winning the second ball battle as well. Here comes a cross in towards the near post. It was Connolly there. Connolly sprinting in towards the near post. He was hungry, he was quicker, it came off him. Cross from Vinagre. Connolly snapping onto it. Scored the first, looking to get the third and maybe a second. A double substitution about to come on for Hull. I think it's Scott Twine who can see his shirt, but Vidigal racing onto it. Gets pushed in the back by Jones. Tries to skip past him in front of the Boothen end down this left-hand side. Jones clears the ball down this right-hand side, and Johnson gives Laurent, beg your pardon, gives Traoré a piggyback. That's a nice bit of fun on this Sunday afternoon. A bit of humour on the pitch. Stoke have possession with Gooch. Tries to take on Slater on the outside. Slater clears the ball away out for a corner and will delay the two changes. Stoke 0, Hull 2.
Yeah, we need some form of a reply here to get anything like a reaction from the crowd or whatever. We need to get something in there on that box. It's been too quiet for too long, really. We've got a corner here. Let's hope we can get something from this and just make it an interesting last half hour or so.
17 minutes played. Here comes the corner in towards the near post. Wesley was there. It's come off a Hull player, looped up out of play. And it's another corner, second consecutive one in the space of a couple of seconds. Haksabanovic collects it, sprints towards the corner flag, places it very carefully. 4-yard run up. Left arm goes up into the air, be an out-swinging corner. Here it comes towards the 6-yard box. Headed clearance by the captain, Greaves, picked up by Vidigal. Vidigal shapes to shoot, puts a cross in towards Wesley. It's cleared away by Morton on the half volley, just outside the penalty area. Gooch with a header towards his right-hand side. Haksabanovic always trying to carve something out, put the ball back into the penalty area. Here it comes, Gooch with a header away from Jones, out of play for a corner on the opposite side. Some encouragement then for the home support. Vidigal races to take it. They need to show some urgency. 18 minutes played. Stoke 0, Hull 2. And Vidigal will take this corner, right-footed, low towards the near post. It's flicked away, but it's cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box by Greaves. And Philogene tries to get there before Johnson. Johnson pushes him over, fairly so, says the referee. Switches play from right to left, trying to pick up Vidigal. Headed away by Christie. And the two changes for Hull about to take place. And it's Liam Delap, who we know very well here at the Bet365 Stadium, coming on and replacing the goal scorer Aaron Connolly. Have they changed the numbers while I looked away? No, Connolly is coming off and Delap is coming on, and Scott Twine, the other player, to come on, and the other goal scorer Adama Traore. So Liam Rossinia, full of confidence, taking his 2 goal scorers off and replacing them with Liam Delap and Scott Twine. Both players who are on loan from Manchester City and Burnley, respectively. Twine, Burnley, Delap, Manchester City. Haksabanovic into Vidigal, tries to dig out across into the penalty area, cleared away by Seri, up towards Delap. Takes it, but loses control. Stoke regain possession. Nice by Vidigal towards Haksabanovic, just outside the penalty area. Now into Vidigal. This is sharp, this is quick. Thompson with a scuff shot. Forced to Wesley. Wesley with a shot. Fantastic save by Allsop. Pushes it up and over the crossbar. First genuine effort since Daniel Johnson's shot on goal in the first half. And a fantastic save from Allsop. Pushed it over the crossbar. Corner Ian Cranston. Stoke 0, Hull 2.
Yeah, we just needed that one to go in, really, just to give us that little bit of a spark.
That was good play between Vidigal and Haksabanovic. Need to see that combination work more often for the remainder of this game. 25 minutes to play. Here comes the corner in towards the 6-yard box. It's headed away and Philogene picks up the scraps. Johnson gets there again. Tries to find Haksabanovic. Too much on that forward ball. Runs out of play. It's a throw into Hull, level with the edge of the penalty box down this near right-hand side. But that's what we need to see more of, don't we, Ian? The combinations between Vidigal, Johnson and Haksabanovic.
Yeah, it developed just outside the box. Ball got played at the box. Wesley's actually done quite well in terms of he's turned and got his shot off after a little bit of a scramble. But, you know, keeper's made a good save. I think the frustrating part there is we then take the corner, the ball gets half cleared to the edge of the box, and who picks it up? They do. So you lose the momentum again, you know, like Thompson's just a little bit a yard, a little bit too deep, and then all of a sudden we've lost the momentum that we've tried to gain.
Still plenty time. 66 minutes played. Live football on BBC Stoke on this Sunday afternoon. We'll be with the twists and turns of Stoke City throughout this season. And I have a feeling there's going to be lots of twists and turns in this season. 17 new players signed. There was 18. Chiquinho's gone back to Wolves and he's headed off to Portugal on loan. So 17 new players, 13 permanent, 4 on loan. Lots of change, lots of churn, and there'll be lots of twists and turns. Week 8 of the Championship. Stoke, 7 points, from 7 games before kick-off, heading towards a defeat. They've not won in their last 4, drawn 1, lost 3. Is it to be drawn 1, last 4 of the last 5? That's a poor run in anyone's book. Haksabanovic, short and square now to Thompson. Shuffles it out towards Gooch, gets it back. Inside right channel, comes infield, crowded infield. Now Vidigal has it, just outside the penalty area, puts a crossing towards Wesley. Wesley was backpedaling, got his head to it, directed it towards goal, but it wasn't troubling Ryan Alsop. It ended up on his feet and he collects it, just pats Wesley on the back. Wesley looks skywards in frustration, but he did well there. Ian Cranston got his head to that. It was a good cross, but he was backpedaling, to be fair to him. Stoke 0, Hull 2.
Yeah, that's right, but the build-up was a lot better. We played off him, we played the ball forward to him and played off him, and then he brought Haksabanovic into the play, so that's how it develops. And you're like thinking, well, yeah, listen, you've got a pattern of play, can we look to it? But too many times it's now, we're in trouble now. Delap's on it.
Yeah, Delap's coming down the heart of midfield. Shot comes in, deflected away by McNally. Approached the penalty area. I think he was just inside the penalty on the left-hand side. Drove through the heart of midfield, down the centre of the pitch. Deflected away by McNally. It's a corner to Hull. Stoke 0, Hull 2.
He's dropped off and received the ball in the edge of the circle there, and again the centre half's uncertain as to whether to go with him or not. He's turning and he's driving in towards the edge of our box before we get a challenge in. It's just been too easy.
It's strange when I look at my notes. I think most commentators, I think Phil will say this as well. You make notes while you're commentating. I'll talk about that in a minute. Short corner taken. Philogene just outside the penalty area. Twists and turns. Right-footed, gets a shot in. It's deflected away by McNally. It's a corner down this near side in front of the south stand, just below the main stand. Stoke 0, Hull 2. And when I look at my notes, I'm not saying that this is the Bible, but I've not made much notes on Hull. But that's what's been so fantastic about them. They've dominated possession. They haven't made chance after chance. They took the chances they created, but they've been so in control. And on my side of Stoke, I've seen Johnson with a shot. I've seen Wesley with a shot. But Hull have been so superior. Ian, I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. Let's just describe this corner. Morton will take it, places it in the quadrant. It'll be out swinging, right-footed. Here it is towards the penalty spot. Greaves and Jones, the 2 centre-halves, get on the end of it, but it runs through the penalty area, and Vidigal picks it up, shadowed by Seri. Seri was too muscular, too strong, too much strength for Vidigal. And now it's Vinagre, heads towards the dead ball line, gets across it. Philogene's there, can he make it 3? Crowded out by Travers, and also that was Gooch as well, defending at the far post. It's a goal kick to Stoke. Stoke 0, Hull 2. Ian Cranston, 20 minutes to play on BBC Radio Stoke.
Gooch was a little lucky there. He's got caught under the ball, and in fairness to Phillies, he's trying to bring the ball down. Well, I think he could have actually just headed the ball straight back across goal, and I think that would have been probably a better option. But yeah, I said the Hull have played really well. They've done what they've needed to do. They've been wise to how they need to stop to stop Stoke from playing. And they've done that comfortably, and they've had probably more possession than Stoke have overall in the game. They've certainly done more with the possession that they have anyway.
They've been so in control when they've been playing out from the back, up through the press. They've been quicker to the second ball. They've pounced on the mistakes that Stoke have made, just like Wilmot did. Heavy touch from him. Philogene picked it up, and they've regained possession. And when they've regained possession, they've taken their time and taken the sting out of Stoke's press, tired them out, used the full width of the pitch, which they're doing currently down this near right-hand side. Playing up towards the halfway line. Delap bundled off the ball, and fairly so, from behind by Josh Laurent, the captain of Stoke. Alex Neil just there shouting to someone in the dugout. Probably not shouting is the correct adjective. Probably having a discussion. Maybe wanting to bring on a couple of more changes. It's the 4th official, actually, he's talking to. He'll be, if the score stays as it is, Haksabanovic trying to pull Morton back. Morton just pushed him aside, picks out Vinagre, hurtling down the left-hand side. Gooch is in pursuit. 5 yards away from the dead ball line, below the scoreboard, which reads Stoke 0, Hull 2, 19 minutes to play. Lazy ball for the first time by Seri. Picked up, intercepted by Thompson, but it's gone to a gold shirt, shorts and socks of Hull, and it's Philogene. He's enjoying himself now, runs from right to left infield. His shorts almost dangling down from his back. Delap in towards the near post, just a couple of yards away from that near post on the edge of the 6-yard box. Rose marshalled him all the way. It's a goal kick which is taken quickly. Wilmot back to Travers. on the edge of his 6-yard box. There is no press from Hull. Now Delap comes, and it's cleared away by Rose up towards the halfway line. And a bit of sunshine through the clouds, through the dark gloom around the Bet365 stadium. Ian Cranston's looking up and thinking, is Sahel joking or what? But it looked a little bit clearer, Ian.
I thought the floodlights had just come on, to be honest.
I think you're right, actually. I think I might have been mistaken. The floodlights, you're right. I thought the sun had come out. You're right, the floodlights
I
are
want
on.
some of them glasses, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no, you're right. You were looking up there, and it's the floodlights that have come on. And Morton runs away from Johnson. Johnson tracking back. Now Slater with an effort. Oh, he's glided in. He's taken a deflection. It's looped up over Mark Travers. It's Stoke 0. Hull City 3.
Well, it's no more than what you've seen in the game, not what they've deserved, really. I think you'll probably see an exodus of supporters now. I think the way they're going home, and it's just been a really, really flat performance. And I think, you know, we come back from Huddersfield and we're thinking, well, yeah, the Huddersfield weren't a great team, but we actually played we put a good show on there, and we think, okay, we should have won. It's all to play for today, and they just haven't turned up. If I'm honest, it's just they look too flat as a team. There doesn't seem any great energy in the side, and
it was Slater with the effort. Ian definitely took a deflection. I don't want to pick out the Stoke player took a deflection. I'm not quite sure. I've just seen the replay once or twice, but what I do know is the Stoke defender turned his body towards the whole player, and he wasn't really man on. It wasn't chest up. He turned his back, and it looped up over his right calf and over the top of Mark Travers. And it's Stoke 0, Hull 3. Hull are about to go down to their biggest defeat of this season. Lost to Ipswich on their travels at Portman Road by 2-0. Lost to Preston here last time they were at home by 2-0. And today they're trailing Hull, whose fans are enjoying their Sunday afternoon, leading by 3-0. Aaron Connolly and Adama Traore in the first half, with Regan Slater with the third. Stoke 0, Hull 3. It is Regan Slater who's been credited to, and I think he'll keep the goal. It did take a deflection, looped over Travers, but he'll get the goal, and the third goal coming in the 73rd minute. Bristol City next in the Championship for Stoke, but before that they've got Bournemouth of the Premier League in the League Cup. Cross from the left-hand side, Travers takes it just below his crossbar. Comfortable in the end for the 6'3" goalkeeper. Stoke 0, Hull 3 in Cranston.
Yes, it's going to be a long 15 minutes or so. This is the way that they're playing. There's no impetus to them. It's only going to go one way, I think, the way things are going. There's a lot of frustrated players out there. We're losing a bit of discipline, and we just I just can't see how we're going to get into it.
Gooch rolls the ball forward now to Thompson. 15 minutes to play on BBC Radio Stoke, all frequencies. Praise and grumble to come. Get your calls in with Phil and Ian. 0800 121 8080. Get your calls in. Let's make it a busy hour. We'll be on air all the way through to 3. We'll hear from Alex Neil live in the tunnel, and we'll get as many Stoke callers as we can on. Vidigal with an effort. Vidigal with a goal. Just on the arc of the D. He's pulled a goal back. He won it in possession, 20 yards out, just right of centre. He looked up and he hit it first time. It crept past Ryan Allsop. It's Stoke 1, Hull 3. But at the moment, it feels like a consolation.
Yeah, he's took it really well, but and I'm just looking on the previous comment. I'm saying now there's players not really showing for it, and the one instance where he has done, he's received the ball and he's getting out his feet and took it out. But he's just looking around now, and there's players there. Just I'm not sure that they really want the ball at times. So here and you know you've got to take responsibility. You've got to be prepared to do it. You know, I think you can tolerate mistakes if they're trying to do the right thing. And at times, if you just try to be in that comfort zone, you get nothing from it.
Thompson fouled on the right-hand side. Pace of the game now, Stoke point of view, just quickens ever so slightly. Vidigal's 4th championship goal of the season, his 5th overall in all competitions. He's got an eye for goal, hasn't he? And I'll get your thoughts on that in a moment. Let's talk our listeners through this free kick. Haksabanovic over it, Vidigal with the goal. Stoke 1, Hull 3, 13 minutes to play, plus time to be added on BBC Radio Stoke across all frequencies. Haksabanovic just right of the ball. Here he comes over a one-man wall, flights it to the far post. Header comes in inside the 6-yard box. It's cleared away and it's out of play. It's a throw-in for Stoke in front of the Bootham end. A couple of yards away from the corner flag, down this near left-hand side. Johnson is back to goal, keeps it from running out of play, gets a good crossing towards the far post. McNally leaves it for Gooch. Gooch much has shouted to him. Haksabanovic makes a run on the outside. Haksabanovic now with the ball into McNally. McNally just inside the penalty area, not quite sure what to do with it. Gooch getting muscled off it from Delap, but wins it back. Thompson in some space, strides forward, left-footed, takes a shot, but always going over the top into the sunshine in the Bootham end. It's definitely, the sun is shining. It's not the floodlights. It's a goal kick to Hull. Stoke 1, Hull 3, and 2 changes coming on for Stoke in the shape of Kiana Hoover and Junho. Junho being the man to come on first. Daniel Johnson is being replaced by Hoover, and Junho comes on for Haksabanovic. Ian.
Yeah, I reckon Hoover's going to go on the right. Gooch is coming over to the left, and Junho is just going to take Haksabanovic's place down through the middle as a number 10.
So we restarted. Wesley putting a little bit of pressure on Ryan Alsop, headed away by McNally. Hoover jogged over towards his right-hand side. Junho inside the centre circle. First touch for him. Lauren now finds Gooch. Gooch is playing down this left-hand side. Comes forward, then stopped by Philogene. Picks out Junho. Keeps the ball from running out of play, but concedes a throw-in instead. And Liam Rossignol will respond with a change. Sean McLaughlin, sturdy midfielder, forward. Also plays as a utility player at the back as well. Can play in a number of positions, Sean McLaughlin, down the left-hand side. And he's coming on replacing Ruben Vinagre. So I think that's in response to the change made by Alex Neil, Ian Cranston. But Junho and Hoover on for Johnson and Haksabanovic.
Yes, so just see if you can just get that little bit of a tempo going now. I think that's what they're looking for. Junho's obviously always going to be busy. I think Haksabanovic was a bit disappointing today. Just didn't quite have the energy levels that you were looking at. Just didn't quite get enough for the ball. See whether or not Junho can change that round, and then you've obviously got Hoover, who's great at going forward and kind of produce that little bit of quality in the final third.
Hoover back from injury. He suffered on international duty with the Netherlands under-21s. Stoke 1, Hull 3, 10 minutes to play, plus any time to be added on. Pitch in sunshine now and shade as well, as Wilmot clears right-footed over the halfway line, aiming for Wesley. He was offside, really high up the pitch there. Pressed high by the Hull defence. And before that goal went in, I was about to ask you, Ian, that I know it's a new squad. We've talked about that so many times with Stoke, but it's match day 8 of the Championship. Junho just collects it. Now Gooch has it just shy of the halfway line. Don't want to miss out on any forward momentum from Stoke. Here comes Hoover in field. Vidigal to his right, picks out Vidigal. Wesley points it to where he wants it, gets it right side of the area. First time shot wide of the near post. He pointed to where he wanted it. That was more like it from the Brazilian, but his shot was wide. It's a goal kick to Hull. Stoke 1, Hull 3. But my point is I know we've talked about new players and so on and so, it will take time, but they're professionals. They're with each other all the time. If I was a manager, I would have no days off. I'm thinking I'm going to get this side drilled into a formation. There's been lots of swaps, lots of changes, lots of formation changes. I think Alex Neil needs to stick to a formation and a first 11 and say, this is my team, barring any injuries and suspensions.
I think that's the big thing. I think you mentioned there's obviously injuries and suspensions. They've had a few injuries and they've obviously got a suspension as well. That's changed the team today. But yeah, we watched him beginning of the season and he started with a 4. That's a 4-3-3. He's now gone into a back 3, stroke 5, and then you're like, well, what is his team? What is his shape of team that he wants to go out and play? So I think you need to know that, but obviously it's down to personnel at the same time. And if he sees Hoover as an important part of that, then he's not been available. So anyway, Gooch on the left-hand side in the final third.
Yeah, picks up the ball, rolls it back to Wesley, just outside the penalty area, right below us in the main stand. We're in tier 2. He switches play out towards the right-hand side, below the east stand. Hoover has it, midway inside Hull's half. 7 minutes to play here on BBC Radio Stoke. All frequencies, Stoke 1, Hull 3. Thompson rolls it back towards the centre circle. On the halfway line is Rose. Short and square to McNally, pushes it in front of him, runs into some space. Hoover makes an option for him, tries to pick out Hoover, well defended by Jacob Greaves, the captain of Hull, pushed in the back by Hoover in frustration really. Ball runs out of play. It's a goal kick which Hull would take their time over. Vidigal urging for them to hurry up, to use the multi-ball system, but referee will notice all this. I don't think the players need to be too concerned these days. There's plenty of time added on, and these minutes will be added on. Any time wasting from Hull. Stoke 1, Hull 3. Vidigal's come on, he's scored his 4th championship goal of the season, 5th in all competitions. Wilmot with a stooping header into Hull's half. It's sent back with interest towards Rose. Rose now trying to pick out Wesley. Nice kung fu style collected by Seri, and it was a foul by Stoke, so it's a free kick to Hull inside the centre circle, a couple of yards away from the halfway line. They take it out towards the left and it's pushed back by Greaves to Allsop, and Hull will restart. Right-footed clearance down the middle, looking for Delap, headed away by Rose. Junho doesn't manage to control. It's flicked forward by Seri, and Wilmot tries to pick out Wesley. Hull once again regain possession. Approaching the final 5 minutes of this game. Praise and grumble. 0800 121 8080 is the number. Get in touch with Phil and Ian. Philogene with the ball. Philogene, couple of step overs. Comes in field, just on the edge of Stoke's penalty area. And now it's Slater. Good save by Mark Travers, low down towards his left-hand side. His long 6'3" frame, denying Hull a 4th. Saved with his legs, and it ran straight out of play. I thought it might have gone out for a throw-in, but it went straight out of play for a corner. Good save by Travers. Slater quickest to the ball there, Ian Cranston. Corner to Hull.
Yeah, he's come from the left-hand side, he's come across two or three Stoke players, in fairness, to get to there, and he's got that desire to want to get there. And there'd have been no complaints if it had gone in, because it would have been a good finish, but we've got to have a bit more about it now.
Morton taken by Travers on the edge of his 6-yard box. Corner was flighted in. All supporters, some of them with their tops off, not cleared away. Picked up by Junho. Vidigal makes a run, finds Vidigal. Vidigal with some space just outside the penalty area, twists one way then another, looking for support, finds it in Hoover. Infield it goes to Thompson. Now Junho, he comes infield, looks up, picks out Wilmot. Wilmot switches the direction of play towards the right-hand side. Hoover rolls it in front of him, then stops and finds Thompson. Nice give and go between Thompson and Hoover. Hoover in towards the near post, and it's cleared away by Sean McLaughlin, who I said plays all the way down the left-hand side. He can play down as a left full-back, left midfield, and sometimes towards the ends of the game they even push him up front, but he's defending his near post and concedes a corner. 3 minutes to play. Here it comes by Thompson in towards the 6-yard box, headed away by Jones. Out towards Gooch. It bounces a couple of times, lands on his right instep. Hoover circles it back out towards Thompson. First time cross, deep. Vidigal collects inside the penalty area, left-hand side, right in front of the Booth net. Goes back out towards Junho. Digs across in, takes a couple of deflections. McNally's there. Some of the Stoke players, some of the Stoke supporters claiming it came off a whole hand. Gooch, first time cross, low in towards the near post. It's cleared away by Christie. Up towards the halfway line, picked by Gooch. Stoke 1, Hull 3. Final few minutes of this midday kickoff on a Sunday afternoon for Stoke. Back here at the Bet365 Stadium. Cross wasted straight into the arms of Ryan Alsop. Just looking down once again on my notebook. Home form before today, played 3 in the Championship, won 2 and lost 1. It'll be 50% now, Ian, and they wanted to make this place a fortress. They've still got time, they've still got lots of football to be played, but it doesn't feel like one today, does it?
No, just that last bit there, Travers has kicked the ball forward for a quick counter. We've won the ball, but then you look at it and we're just so laboured to get up to support them. They've had to slow the attack down for a place to get around them.
Yeah, Philogene with the effort, very ambitious. 25 yards away, left of centre, drifts out of play. It's a goal kick to Stoke and another change for Hull. It's Jason Lokilo who's coming on and replacing Jean-Michel Seri, who's had a real effective game. To be fair to all of the Hull players, they've all played superbly well, haven't they?
Yeah, they've done well. Seri's done really well. He's kept things relatively simple. His positioning sense has been great defensively. He's tidied things up, moved things around, and very rarely give the ball away.
Vidigal just taking some liquid on, just hobbling back on. He's not running very freely. Doesn't look like he's running very freely.
No, not at all. He's looking a bit flat-footed. And, yeah.
Strange way, the way he's running on. Maybe he's just making sure he gets through the next couple of minutes. Doesn't seem to be running.
He's got a limp there.
Yeah. I just noticed that in the last minute or so when he took that liquid on board. But he's tried, to be fair to him, he's really tried to run and press, and he's got the goal. But he is not running freely at all.
Well, that means just a little bit of cramp in some respects, because
yeah,
obviously hasn't played
could
for
be.
a while. But
Vidigal with the flick, picked up by Laurent into Wesley, falls down on his backside, puts his 2 arms skywards in frustration. Stoke 1, Hull 3. Here comes a 4th official, and it's a free kick once again conceded by Josh Laurent on the halfway line. 4 minutes to be added on at the end of this game, and frustration really from the Stoke management team, not including Alex Neil. He's allowing his backroom staff to have a word with the 4th official. Felt like there was more than 4 minutes. We've had quite a few changes, and I think a couple of times Hull have taken their time over the restarts. McNally and Lokilo with a tussle on the halfway line, throw in to Stoke. So after 8 games, I think I can comfortably read out. Played 8 for Stoke, won 2, drawn 1, lost 5. At home they've played 4, won 2 and lost 2. They're trailing at home today by 3 goals to 1. That'll be the second consecutive defeat at home. Wilmot with a cushion header back to Mark Travers. And without a win in the league now as well, Ian, in 5 games. These stats are piling up and they're concerning.
yes, they are, because obviously in previous games they've had a performance, or they've done reasonably well in games and lost by the odd goal, but the performance-wise have been okay. Where today, I think you can't say that today. I think the performance has been poor. I think energy levels have been disappointing, and to a degree that the Hull have just have strolled through the game. It's been really comfortable for them.
Free kick to the visitors, just set right of the centre circle, 5 yards away from the halfway line. Hung in the air, maybe the wind helped it. Cleared away by Wilmot towards Vidigal. He gets bundled off the ball, he smiles in frustration really at the referee. Seems to be okay in general play, Vidigal. But when he runs, he's not running smoothly. It's a throw in to Hull, and they'll carry their good form forward. And beaten now in their last 7. Previous today, they won 3, drawn 3. Looks like it's going to be 1-4, drawn 3. Stoke's worries and concerns deepen. Bournemouth next in the League Cup on Wednesday. Bristol City in the Championship away. Both games away on Saturday. Both, of course, live on BBC Radio Stoke. Praise and grumble. Get your calls in 0800 121 8080. Just looking over towards my right-hand side, towards Sir Stanley Matthews Way. In between this main stand and the south stand, I can see the fans heading out of the ground. And also to my left, but really visible to my right-hand side, heading towards where the cars are parked and maybe catching the buses or maybe walking home. Disappointed. Get your frustration out. Talk to Phil and Ian and hopefully get over this defeat together. Because it's another big setback really for Stoke in this season. Gooch trying to put a cross into the penalty area. Right below us here in the main stand on the left-hand side. Infield it goes to Thompson. Thompson picks out Laurent just outside the penalty area. Now it's to Gooch. He flights in across to the far post. Hoover was there, but he's committed a foul, leaning on the 2 Hull defenders, and it will be a free kick to Hull just in front of their 6-yard box. And I think when they take this, when we restart, the referee will blow up for full time. Ian.
Yes, I think we've seen enough, to be fair. I think there's probably about less than a quarter of the crowd that started still in the stadium as it is. I think it's very deflated. I think it's disappointing, and I think there'll be questions needs to be asked at some point, because it's we can't keep going on the side of right, well, it's a new squad. I think you look at the performances, and up to now the performances have been reasonable. This one, I think, has been a really poor performance from the team. That just lacked the energy and any sort of nous really to try and break anything down.
Yeah, a disappointing afternoon has ended here at the Bet365 Stadium. Stoke City 1, Hull City 3.
Well, let's get through this together, as Sohail says, shall we? Let's have a bit of a therapy session over the next hour.